I've started to develop a thing against using commas for big numbers. I don't know what it is,
Hmm.
but I just don't like using commas for big numbers. So if I don't use scientific notation, sometimes I'll just leave gaps between the numbers. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I hate
I think
scientific
that part
notation.
part of my
I
issue
mean,
with commas, part of my
scientific
issue
notation.
with commas is when you go to type it on a computer. I don't want it to separate the number. That's one thing. Because, if the number's at the end of a sentence, I don't want it to, like, split half the number. I also don't want it to just take the number, move it to the next line, and leave an awkward gap at the end. It doesn't look right. And, usually when you have numbers in a scientific paper, usually you have, it has its own line. But the other thing about commas is that, in other languages, I
They
mean,
don't
obviously,
use commas.
obviously
They
in
use
America, everyone
decimals.
knows what you're talking about when you use a comma. But like in Spain, a comma is a decimal point.
Yeah, I know.
They use periods, and for
I
me,
know
I
they
love
lie.
consistency. I want consistency. So I don't want to be using a comma if it means a decimal to someone else. I love
Can somebody
consistency.
explain to
So
me why over there they use periods? Like, maybe it's
I
my,
don't know. I honestly should look that. I really don't know the answer. I should look that
because
up.
the comma, at least in my opinion, is better suited. Because a decimal point makes sense to separate, the period makes sense to separate between decimals and whole numbers. That it just makes more sense than a comma.
Why?
Because like a comma, like
I think it's a bias you have.
in a sentence, a comma is just a pause or a break, or use it to separate a list of things. And then a period starts a new sentence. In a number, a period starting the decimals. It starts something new, something different. Commas are just there to break it up to make it easier to read. But periods instead of commas, maybe it is definitely a bias, but it just doesn't it doesn't feel right. It feels like you're just breaking the number up. And when you'd rather it's the whole number, you're just adding a something so you could tell what the hell you're looking at. I mean, you could just do a line.
Oh
But,
yeah, so
then you think it's
actually
a
this
line.
says there is a standard. And actually I've been using the standard. The standard is to use a decimal point to separate a decimal and spaces.
Spaces.
Use spaces to separate the thousands.
See, that makes sense in typing. I could see that. Which is fine. I have no problems with spaces, personally.
Here's Wikipedia. What does Wikipedia say?
Personally, spaces, that's fine. I'm fine with spaces. Because writing it out, you have to use commas. There's no way around it. But when you're writing, but on the computer, spaces, that's fine. I can get behind that. I can do that. I never wrote big numbers for any of my stuff, and if I did, you round everything. So if something was like 2 million joules of energy, or like it was 2,318,000 or whatever joules of energy, you just write 2.8 million joules of energy, or whatever the heck.
Honestly, what I should have done is there's another way to cheat scientific notation. So, like, let's say you had take the mass of the Earth, right? Oh no. Let's do something smaller. Just
The
at
population
work,
of the human race.
So at work, say I'm measuring resistance, right? And say I get something that comes out to 200,000 ohms,
Holy
right?
shoot! What are we? Oh my
What?
god! 2,000
So it's
ohms of
open. It's open.
resistance.
So if you're measuring the resistance of something that's open, so it's not a complete circuit. It'll read a super large number.
I guess I'm used to milliohms.
Yeah, but that means it's closed.
Oh, okay.
That means it's short circuited.
Oh, okay. I see.
That
I didn't
means, that
know
means
this.
that,
These are things I'm learning here. Okay. So
but if something's open, you're going to read a huge number. You may even get, but what I'm saying is the way you can cheat scientific notation is that 200,000 ohms is equivalent to
two mega ohms.
no,
No,
200 kilo ohms.
200 kilo ohms. Yes, because mega would be one more.
Would be 200,000, 2 million ohms.
Yeah, like I said, one more place.
Yeah. So 200,000 kilo ohms. But what I'm saying is that the way you can cheat scientific notation is instead of writing 2 times 10 to the 5, you could write 200 k ohm. K and then the ohm symbol.
Yeah.
And so
thank you, metric system.
And so that's basically what I do at work.
Kilomiles.
I don't even use scientific notation because I just write the symbol, the SI unit symbol for whatever it is.
There you go. You start just making.
If it's giga ohms, you write a G. If it's mega ohms, you write an actually.
Can you imagine?
My manager doesn't like it. My manager doesn't like it when we write giga ohms because it gets confusing with mega ohms. Usually, what we write is we write 50 plus mega ohms because that's the limit.
What the hell has giga ohms? Billions.
Well, no. So the confusion is that if something needs to be overhauled, like it needs to be cleaned better, we measure the case leakage, the cell leakage, and the borderline for that is 2 mega ohms, right? So if something is less than 2 mega ohms, you need to clean this up or whatever. If it's more than that, you're good. But if you take an ohm reading, right, and it comes out to say 1.8 giga ohms, if someone writes 1.8 giga ohms, he gets confused because sometimes he'll look at that and be like, do we need to clean this? And he'll write, oh wait, that's a G, not an M,
so
right?
He just can't.
And so it makes more sense to just write 50 plus mega ohms because the other meter we use, the other meter only goes up to 50.
So
higher than 50.
Can we
start? Just like 50 plus because it is technically 50 plus. But
can we start doing that for miles? Giga miles?
Giga miles?
Yeah.
Well, the thing with miles is that miles is American, and we don't really.
Well, yeah. Everybody uses kilometer, but can I start just saying, oh yeah, it's about 1 giga mile? Like what? It's about 1 billion miles, right?
Yeah.
Giga's 1 billion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 1 billion miles away. It's about 1 giga mile.
Mm-hmm.
Just start using the metric system, but with miles or feet. Oh my god, that'd be fantastic. You certainly could. You're gonna it's not a real measurement, but you know what it is. You're just like 1 gigamile, that's 1 billion miles. It's the same as saying 1 billion miles. It's the same exact thing. That's really all you're doing in the metric system. You're not making new units. You're just figuring out how to condense units down. It's all grams. It's 1 gigagram. I don't know what's 1 billion grams worth and why you're measuring in gigagrams.
I still think hella should be a thing. Because it'd be so much easier to... Because do you know what the mass of the Earth is? 6 heligrams.
I was going to say, it technically is behind me. I just have to solve it.
6 times 10 to the 24 kilograms, right?
Yeah.
6 times 10 to the 24 kilograms. So, we only have a number that goes up to 10 to the 24. I think that's yada. If I remember right. I think it's yada. Yada. But the thing is, we don't have one next higher. So we need 10 to the 27 because then you could just state the mass of the Earth as 6 heligrams. Now, but you can't stop that. I feel like we should still go to 10 to the 30 Because otherwise, you have the mass of the sun, which is 2,000 Actually, no, that still sounds pretty cool.
Well, no, you could
2,000
just do soul.
holograms.
Well, no, then you just do souls. Just do
No, no,
suns.
no, 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 because it makes it easier to compare. Mass of the Earth, 6 holograms. Mass of the Sun, 2,000 holograms.
Well, why not just do? Well, I mean, they measure everything in masses of Earths and masses of suns, anyways. So the sun becomes a unit of measurement, which is funny because there are black holes that are 1 giga sun, 1 billion suns.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The fact that we can go all the way up to giga, and it's a good sized supermassive black hole.
Yeah.
What are these? What are these numbers? Well, anyways,